All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are unpacking the mind-bending numbers and the really fascinating engineering behind a car that is completely rewriting Mercedes-AMG's playbook. We're talking about the all-electric GT four-door coupe. Let's just dive right into the data, shall we?
1,169. That is the absolutely staggering horsepower this new electric powerhouse produces in its top-spec form. To put that into perspective for you, this makes it the most powerful series production car the company has ever built. It's officially crossing the threshold into territory that's usually reserved for multi-million-dollar hypercars.
And what happens when all that power actually hits the pavement? Well, it sprints from 0 to 62 miles per hour, or 100 kilometers an hour, in a blistering 2.1 seconds when you factor in a 1-foot rollout. And hey, even without the rollout, it still takes just 2.4 seconds. We are looking at absolute neck-snapping acceleration that literally pushes the physical limits of street-legal tires. But here's where things get truly absurd. It hits that world-class speed while weighing in at a massive 5,423 pounds. You know, that is over 2.5 tons of metal, battery, and sheer luxury. It's essentially the weight of a full-size SUV just hurtling towards the horizon. So how on earth is a Falterbach making a heavyweight like this move so incredibly fast?
Section 1. The electric powerhouse arrives.
To really grasp how AMG is completely redefining high-performance EVs, we've got to look at the foundation, because they aren't just adapting some existing car. AMG is officially walking away from those loud twin-turbo V8 internal combustion engines that made them famous, and they're going all in on a brand-new, dedicated electric architecture called AMG.EA. What's absolutely crucial to remember here is that this platform doesn't share parts with your standard Mercedes-Benz passenger EVs. It is strictly engineered from the ground up to handle extreme forces.
When this beast hits the market, buyers are going to get two pretty intense flavors to choose from. On one side, you have the mind-melting GT63 flagship we just talked about, delivering that 1,169 horsepower. But on the other side, there's a slightly more modest GT55 base model. And I use modest very lightly here, because it still pumps out an impressive 816 horsepower and crushes that sprint in 2.5 seconds. Section 2. Formula One battery tech.
Now, as we all know, in the EV world, heat is the absolute enemy of performance. So how do they achieve this massive power over and over without cooking the system? It comes down to their secret weapon, axial flux motors. Developed by a company called YASA, this really innovative compact electric motor design where the electromagnetic flux runs parallel to the axis of rotation rather than perpendicular. By using 3 of these incredibly thin motors, we're talking 2 in the back, 1 in the front, AMG saves crucial weight and space while drastically boosting continuous output and torque. I mean, they are just a few inches wide, yet they spin up to 15,000 RPM. And they pair that brilliant motor setup with some legit Formula One derived battery tech. We're talking about a 106 kilowatt-hour battery pack running on a native 800-volt electrical architecture. But the real magic here is the directly cooled cylindrical cells. See, a special high-tech coolant actually flows around each individual cell inside the pack. This means you can do lap after lap on a track without the battery losing its edge or derating.
And the convenience factor of that 800-volt architecture, it is off the charts. When it's finally time to pit, this vehicle can accept a massive 600 kilowatts of charging power at compatible stations. That's enough juice to take the battery from 10 to 80% capacity in a mere 11 minutes. You can essentially add over 280 miles of range in basically the time it takes to grab a coffee and stretch your legs.
Section 3. Handling a heavyweight.
Look, straight-line speed is kind of the easy part, right? To make a 5,400-pound EV handle like a nimble, track-ready sports car, they had to throw every piece of complex chassis technology in their arsenal at it. We're looking at standard AMG active ride control air suspension, paired with semi-active roll stabilization to keep the car perfectly flat in corners. It also features active rear axle steering that actually turns the rear wheels up to 6 degrees, virtually shortening the wheelbase. And perhaps wildest of all, it has active aerokinetics. These are underbody Venturi flow plates that automatically drop down at high speeds to literally suck the car to the asphalt.
Section 4. Faking the V8 soul.
And this brings us to the electric muscle car paradox. We've got all this cold, hard, incredibly impressive data, but how do you give a silent EV a soul? With the inherent silence of electric motors, AMG faced a highly controversial challenge. Fans expect a certain theater and visceral drama from a car wearing an AMG badge.
Well, their solution is a system they call AMG Force S+.
When activated, it uses intelligent software to mix over 1,600 sound files in real time. This generates synthetic soundtracks mimicking the deep burble of their old track-focused V8s. But the irony here is amazing. It doesn't stop at audio. They actually engineered artificial powertrain vibrations and even simulated jerky multi-speed gear shifts. It physically interrupts the traction to make it. Section 5. Luxury meets polarizing design. You see, it's not just the fake engine noise causing a stir online. On paper and from the driver's seat, it's a stunner. The interior is a driver-oriented, futuristic masterpiece, featuring a 14-inch multimedia screen, an optional passenger screen, and a customizable sky control panoramic roof that can literally shift colors to match the cabin's mood. But the exterior features a low-slung, sweeping fastback shape with what many are calling highly unconventional rear proportions, and that exact shape has severely divided car enthusiasts.
Let's look at the two sides of this coin. Mercedes executives. They are naturally glowing about the car. CEO Ola Kalinis stated, "It pushes performance to new limits and delivers the emotion our fans expect. We don't just meet the bar, we move it." They clearly view this as an absolute high-performance machine setting new visual and technological standards for the brand.
But contrast that beautifully polished PR with the brutal reality of internet commenters. In the Arena EV article we're exploring, one anonymous commenter bluntly wrote, "The hell it looks cheap and ugly. In comparison, Xiaomi looks like a masterpiece." Ouch. Others echoed the sentiment, really questioning what the designers were thinking with the rear styling. It's a bold look for sure, and bold looks always generate friction.
Section 6. The price of performance.
Because whether you love the styling or hate it, we've got to talk about the price. Mirroring the pricing structure of the gas-powered generation it replaces, this EV is expected to start around $200,000. And, as is tradition with high-end luxury, it will easily push uncomfortably close to $300,000 once you start ticking the option boxes for things like carbon fiber roofs, specialized paints, and track performance packages.
And finally, Section 7. The verdict.
So, the main takeaway here is that AMG has undoubtedly built a breathtaking, cutting-edge machine. I mean, the battery cooling, the axial flux motors, the active air dynamics, it really pushes the boundaries of what an EV can do. Yet it kind of seems to be wrestling with its own identity, leaving us with a really provocative question to ponder. Does the future of electric sports cars really need a fake V8 to be exciting? It makes you wonder if this incredible, revolutionary electric technology should just stand proudly on its own merits, rather than expending so much engineering effort pretending to be the combustion engine it was explicitly designed to replace. What do you think makes an EV truly thrilling? Thank you so much for hanging out and joining me on this explainer today. I really hope it helped you wrap your head around both the fascinating engineering triumphs and the cultural debates behind this new Mercedes-AMG. If you enjoyed this focused dive into the data, keep learning, stay curious, and I will catch you in the next explainer.